Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Dakota, and today we're going to be taking a deeper look at Transformers 1. A movie that even now, 2 years after it's come out, is still considered by fans to be one of the best Transformers movies and desperately needs a sequel. We are still here hoping and praying for one, even while we wait for whatever comes next. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a really big fan of the channel New Rockstars. They do movie breakdowns and show off Easter eggs for movies like Marvel, DC, and tons of other things, and have done Transformers movies in the past. Now, when I saw that they didn't make a video for this movie, I kind of feel like it was a missed opportunity for them. It's another opportunity for them to talk about this amazing franchise that we love, while also showing off some Easter eggs and things that people might have missed the first time around. Heck, even some Easter eggs that I didn't even notice until making this video. Now, I'm definitely not Eric Voss. I don't have a studio with the blue dungeon in it. I live in an apartment, and this is my wife's sheet behind me. But I'm going to be doing what I can to fill the void for a breakdown in this style, so let's jump right into it. We open with a shot of this movie's beautiful version of Cybertron, and it's already something to marvel at. Of all the looks of Cybertrons from all the different movies, cartoons, and all the other media that we've seen, we haven't seen a Cybertron being under the surface with buildings hanging upside down. It's a very new and interesting take on Cybertron that I feel like is very welcome in this respect, and it shows a clear contrast between the surface and the lower levels of Cybertron. Right off the bat, we meet Orion Pax, and he's breaking into the archives of Cybertron. He's not a data clerk this time around, but it's shown through storytelling that he has definitely done this more than once, so he knows his way around. Orion Pax here is voiced by Chris Hemsworth, which initially jarred some fans, but after seeing him in this movie, and with the progression from the beginning to the end of it, it shows that Chris Hemsworth does have a good range for this character, starting off with a very young version and leading into the Optimus Prime that we are more used to. And the reason that Orion is broken into the archives is because that he's looking for legends of the Matrix of Leadership, which is missing in this movie. The data file that he looks at has a voiceover from Alpha Trion, who is voiced by Lawrence Fishburne in this movie. It's not the first time that we've seen a Matrix voice actor voice a character in Transformers, as we've seen Hugo Weaving voice Megatron in the first 3 Transformers Michael Bay movies. The holographic file is telling the story of Primus, who transforms into Cybertron itself and creates the 13 Primes. In this movie, the lineup being Zeta Prime, Prima, Alpha Trion, Vector Prime, Megatronus Prime, Micronus, Solus Prime, Onyx Prime, Alchemist Prime, Amalgamus Prime, Nexus Prime, Liege Maximo, and Quintus Prime. We don't know if Primus created the original 13 Primes to battle Unicron like it's been in past Transformers continuities, but we do know that they were created to protect Cybertron from otherworldly threats, this time being the Quintessons. And they are a very completely different look than how they've been in the past, but again, a very welcome change. The hologram ends with the Matrix being lost and Orion being discovered by 2 guards, who make it known that they're not exactly a fan of cogless bots. But Orion has a few tricks up his sleeve to distract the guards, and he makes his getaway out of the Hall of Records and down to the planet below. He accidentally crashes a party and steals some energon from the guests, and then hops a train to try to get away, where we see other cogless bots recognize him and are fed up with him. Clearly he gets in trouble very often and gets the others in trouble. Now, we've got a few recognizable bots on the train that we can go over, but we're going to go over them here in just a minute after Orion gets away. And he's able to do so after the guards catch up with him, but are bumped into by D16, who distracts them long enough so that way Orion can slip into his cart and send the guards on a different direction. Once they're on the train, Orion pops out of D16's cart, and they have a little discussion talking about what happened, as well as Orion giving D16 a sticker of Megatronus Prime's face, which we can see in this continuity is just very much the Decepticon emblem, showing that Megatron not only gets his namesake from his favorite Prime in this movie, but also uses his face as his faction's defining insignia. D16 in this movie is voiced by Brian Tyree Henry, who is an amazing actor who most people will probably recognize as Miles' father in the Into the Spider-Verse movies. But he's done tons of other movie projects in his time, and I can't wait to see what more he does, and I'd love to see him come back and voice Megatron again. Now, here's where we recognize even more faces on the train. Because while the bots that were at the party aren't very recognizable, here we get plenty of G1 Autobots that we all know and love. On the trains and in the mines themselves, we've got Jazz, Ironhide, Sideswipe and Sunstreaker, Red Alert, the blue version of Deep Cover, which we've seen in a War for Cybertron trilogy toy. There's Hound, Brawn, Windcharger, I think, Blue Streak, Prowl. We also see Ratchet, but later on we also hear somebody paging Dr. Ratchet. Maybe Ratchet was still a medic for the cogless bots. And also later on in the crowds of cogless bots, we're going to see RC, Lancer, and even a gold Jazz that could possibly be Jackpot. It also seems, from what I can tell, that we have Mirage and Moonracer here as well. In the mines, we meet Elita 1, who in this movie is voiced by the beautiful Scarlett Johansson, and she is leading the cogless bots down into the Energon mine so that way they can extract it. We see Wheeljack accidentally tap a vein and cause an explosion because it's unstable. D16 and Orion Pax help Jazz, voiced by Evan Michael Lee, who gets his leg trapped under Falling Rebel. After they narrowly escape the collapsing cave, Elita 1 gets fired by Darkwing, who has the same body type as the guards from the archives. Back in their living space, the cogless bots listen to a message from Sentinel Prime, this time voiced by John Hamm. And he says that his mission to go to the surface and retrieve the Matrix has resulted in failure again, but later on we're going to learn that this is a lie because he's just serving the Quintessence, giving them the energon that the cogless bots have already mined so hard for. The message from Sentinel concludes with him letting everybody know that the following day will be the race, the Icon 5000. While everyone else is powered down in stasis, Orion wakes up D16 so that way he can propose that they race in the Icon 5000. D16 rightfully calls him crazy because they cannot transform. Plus, D16 says that he wants to watch the race. So, Orion is able to trick D16 into giving them a secret spot where they are above the starting line. Orion gives him a jetpack.
Why'd you bring jetpacks?
And shows that he was planning on having them race. So once the green light goes, we see them drop and take off into the race. Now the race actually has a very big scoreboard showing a list of names of characters who are in the race as well as what place they're in, and it has a ton of characters on it. Now all of these names on here are real Transformers characters, whether they are in shows or in toys. But we get multiple shots of the scoreboard, and so going down the list we have Mirage, Blowout, Clampdown, Silverbolt, High Beam, Dead End, who is a member of the Stunticons, Slingshot, another aerial bot, Override, who most people know from the Transformers Cybertron cartoon, Double Clutch, Mean Streak, Cliff Jumper, Motormouth, Speedstream. Later on different looks of the board we'll get Dragstrip, who is another member of the Stunticons, Swerve, Powerglide, Jetstorm, Road Rocket, Windblade, Afterburner, a Technobot, Blur, who definitely should have won this race because there's nobody faster than him, Fireflight, Cordon, Chromia, who we see to go on win the race, but weirdly just looks like a blue RC and not like Chromia at all. But whatever. The announcer over the race also says that we see Tailwind, Strafe, and Skyfires there, but we don't see them on the list. But in another shot of the list, we see Breakdown, Swindle, a Combaticon, Tailgate, Lightspeed, another Technobot, Spinout, Grease Pit, Scattershot, Jolt, Stax, Inferno, Tankor, Motormaster, and Hot Rod. Also, you can see Ricochet's name down at the very bottom of the scoreboard, just behind Sentinel Prime. Now, Orion Pax and D16 cause a lot of hijinks during this race and almost go on to win it, but get run over by Chromia, and then subsequently passed by everybody else. They wait in the medical bay for a few moments, and they are met by Arachnid, voiced by Vanessa Liguori. I do apologize if I butchered that name pronunciation. We see this version of the character has very spindly legs and multiple eyes. Very different from her design in Transformers Prime, which I actually do prefer. Not only because it's a very beautiful look for Arachnid, especially on her first outing, but I'm also very partial to the actress Gina Torres, who plays Jessica Pearson on Suits, which is a show I love. So, what are you gonna do? Sentinel Prime follows her in and gives our two main characters some praise a little bit by saying that the other miners are actually working very hard. He says they'll be rewarded for inspiring them, but then Darkwing shows up and knocks them down to sub-level 50 with none other than B-127, voiced by Keegan-Michael Key. Now, as we've seen in the past, multiple versions of Bumblebee these days do not have a voice. He talks through a radio or just doesn't talk at all. This version is before the war, so Bumblebee, even if he did lose his voice later on, still has it and is just not able to shut up.
Badassatron.
And honestly, I kind of love it. I do prefer when Bumblebee has a voice, but he's voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, who is very funny in this movie. B shows Orion and D his friends that he made, that being EP508, A-Tron, a funny play on the Key and Peele skit.
You done messed up, A-Ron!
And Steve, who ends up having a hollow message in his head from Alphatron that leads to the surface. The three sneak up through the garbage chute and make it to the train that's at Waste Management, where Elita 1 now works. She discovers them, but not before the train doors close and take off toward the surface, which turns out to be an incredibly beautiful landscape that constantly changes. And because it constantly changes, the train whips around and throws our four heroes off the train onto the surface. Elita calls the other bots with her idiot GoBots, GoBots being another franchise of converting vehicle robots that didn't make it as far as Transformers did, but still gets plenty of references to this day, and says that she's leading the expedition to find what they're looking for. While they're walking on the surface, we see the nature and wildlife all over, giving the planet a real techno-organic blend. Unfortunately, one of the deer that they see don't last very long because it gets blasted by what we'll find out is the ship of the Quintessence. At the end of the journey, our characters find a scary looking cave, and within hides the bodies of the 13 Primes. Now, the music in this movie is done by Brian Tyler, who has done music for Transformers in the past, and his music in this movie is beautiful. But every Transformers fan knew what they were hearing as soon as this scene started because it was the music from Transformers Prime. Honestly, if you're going to reuse music that you've done for a franchise before, it might as well be something as beautiful as that for the introduction of these angelic characters. B gives Orion an Energon goodie to put in Alphatron's mouth, and he wakes up. And here's where we learn what this version of Sentinel Prime did. Alphatron shows our 4 main characters a memory of what happened the day that the Primes lost. The Quintessons attacked, and Sentinel Prime actually betrayed them and helped kill them. He attempts to steal the Matrix out of Zeta Prime's chest, but it crumbles before him because he is not worthy of being given the Matrix. After that, he steals the cogs from certain Cybertronians' chests and banishes them to the Energon mines. Now, from the first trailer, when looking at both D16 and Orion packs, you can see that in their chests, it seems like something is missing. And that's because a transformation cog is legitimately a part of a Cybertronian's biology. And when Sentinel Prime stole the transformation cogs out of the Cybertronian's chest, it leaves them hollow and empty. D16 gets angrier now when he realizes that he's been lied to, and when Orion Pack says that they should go back to Iacon and expose him, D16 does this.
No, I want to kill him! I want him to suffer and then to die in darkness.
Ooh, there's the tyrant that we've come to know and love for the past 40 years. But here, trying to right the wrongs of Sentinel, Alphatron actually gives them the transformation cogs of some of his fallen primes, giving them the ability to transform as they were always meant to do.
And again, it sounds like the music is referencing a piece from the last night here, strangely enough.
As they leave, Alphatron stays behind to fight off Sentinel's forces, and we see him turn into a lion-type animal, which is a nod to the few times that we've actually seen Alphatron take a beast mode. And as they leave the cave and are met with Sentinel's forces, we see them transformed for the first time. They struggle as they're being fired at, but they do manage to find their way, and now that he has a transformation cog, D16 is getting angrier by the second. Alphatron gets captured by Sentinel and then killed brutally. This version of Sentinel actually has a very similar double-bladed weapon to his character from Dark of the Moon. Our heroes get captured by Starscream, Soundwave, and Shockwave, who B readily points out after removing his mouth restraint, and they are the leaders of the Cybertronian High Guard, warriors who witnessed Sentinel's betrayal and are now just trying to screw with him. Starscream here being voiced by Steve Buscemi, who we last saw in the Transformers franchise as Day Trader in The Last Night, and Transformers fans will recognize Soundwave's voice actor being John Bailey, who's been a voice actor community for many, many years. Now, the High Guard actually has a lot of Seekers in their midst, and an argument could be made as to who's who within them, but these are the ones that I see and who I think might be these characters, so let's go through them. From what I can see, we have Thundercracker, Skywarp, Thrust, Dirge, Ramjet, and many other repaints of Starscream. You can make an argument for like Redwing and Slipstream and possibly plenty of others. D16 decides not to deal with Starscream's nonsense, and when he can't leave, decides to fight. And after slightly crushing Starscream's voice modulator, we see the iconic fusion cannon come out. D16 is growing more and more evil now, and we see it in a physical change, being that his eyes are turning more red throughout the movie. Arachnid and Sentinel's forces attack and take D16, B, Starscream, and many other members of the High Guard captive. We see Sentinel Prime continue to be just awful, and Megatron, being the rebel that he is, refuses to kneel before him. So Sentinel essentially brands him with the Megatronus Prime symbol, as well as show that he stole Megatronus' transformation cog when he killed him. Orion, Alita, Soundwave, Shockwave, and the rest of the High Guard make their way back to Iacon to rally the cogless bots. And we can see the change happen within him as well, acting more and more like Optimus with this rallying speech for them. When the fight begins, Alita and the other High Guard members are on a train looking to crash into a building. Orion and the miners come in and join the fight to help fight against Arachnid. She begins to attack Orion on the front of the train and opens her head to show a bunch of eyes, and it's just creepy. Once Orion gets inside, he shoots a Death Tracker and actually does the jump pose that we've seen Optimus hit a few times in Transformers media. Soundwave frees D16 and the others, and Sentinel Prime shows off his battle mode, with more weapons and even a battle mask. Speaking of battle masks, we see B-127 get one of his own, as well as knife hands and cannons on his arm so that way he can fight better.
Badassatron.
And the battle mask that he has actually looks a lot like his G1 toy, funny enough. Or with how Bumblebee looks in this movie, you could argue that it's Goldbug? I don't know. Alita and Arachnid have a fight in their own right, and Alita captures her very gently, and they take her to the broadcast tower so they can stream her memories to all of Cybertron, showing everybody what kind of bot that Sentinel is. Now we see D16 make his final stand against Sentinel Prime, but Orion tries to stop him, saying that rebuilding Cybertron should not start with an execution. We hear the passion in D16's voice, and showing that Brian Tyree Henry is doing an amazing job, but he is ultimately too angry to listen to his friend. And when he raises his fusion cannon a second time, he shoots Orion, blowing part of his chest off and his arm clean away. Orion falls back and is about to be lost to the well of all sparks when D16 catches him. But just as we think that we're getting a parallel of the scene earlier where Orion catches him, we actually get this.
I'm done saving you.
And D16 drops him into the well of all spark. We see him fully turn into Megatron. As Orion descends down, we actually see something pull him towards the core of Cybertron, all while D16 is battling Sentinel's forces, and when he finally gets to Sentinel, he grabs him, holds him over his head, and rips him in half. Now this isn't the first time that we've seen Megatron rip another bot in half, but I feel like this one carries a lot more weight, which is unfortunate because I love jazz. And I love jazz in this movie, shout out to Evan Michael Lee. Anyway, D16 takes Megatronus' transformation cog out of Sentinel and puts it in himself, changing his body into Megatron. All the while, Orion is at the core of Cybertron, being met with the 13 Primes, bestowed the Matrix of Leadership, and turning into Optimus Prime himself. When Megatron begins to attack and destroy monuments on Cybertron, Alita and B try to stop him, but they are not strong enough. But Optimus comes back and hits a superhero landing pose, and we finally see the two leaders of our Cybertronian faction stand off for the first time. This short battle actually has a lot to it. They utilize their transformations, different skills, and Optimus gains his iconic axe to fight against Megatron, and also uses it against Starscream, Shockwave, and Soundwave during this fight. To finish the fight, Optimus chops Megatron's fusion cannon in half, and then tells Megatron that he not only betrayed Cybertron, but he betrayed his friend. Oh my god, just kiss already! Megatron and the High Guard are banished from Icon, and Orion restores flowing energon to Cybertron. Transformation cogs fly from the Well of All Sparks and return to the Autobot. We see Sideswipe, Jazz, RC, and Ironhide change once the cogs are returned to them. One last shot of the Autobots driving, and a speech from Optimus, who now sounds closer to Peter Cullen, the original voice actor of Optimus from the G1 show, as well as the Michael Bay movies and other Transformers continuities. Before the credits, we see B return to his trash friends for a comedic scene, and at the very end after the credits, we see Megatron and his now formed Decepticon team banding together, preparing to fight Optimus and the Autobots. We see them being branded with the Decepticon symbol, which the only time we ever saw that was Transformers Animated. I love this movie so much, and I hold firm that we need, they deserve a sequel to this, because it truly is one of, if not the best Transformers movie, period. The story is incredible, the music is top notch, the voice acting is peak, and everything about this movie is truly special. It's unfortunate that Paramount Studios seemingly didn't advertise this movie as well as they could have, and Hasbro seemingly didn't prioritize it as much as they could have with their toy lines. But as long as we the fans keep letting them know that we would love a sequel, maybe there's hope that we'll be able to get them on our side, so that way we can actually get the movie that we'd love to see. Hey, if you guys like the shirt that I'm wearing, this is actually the logo for BOTBINDER. It's a Transformers cataloging site that Max Ross Linden is developing, and me, Fanpage 101, and Larry Arts Productions are administrating. We've got over 1,500 users, we got over 11,000 figures in the catalog itself already, and now it's actually an app that you can get in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. So check out BotBinder and start cataloging your collection today. If you like this video, please leave a like to let me know, leave a comment down below to let me know if I missed anything, or if you want to see more breakdowns like this on my channel. Thanks so much everybody, I'll see you all next time.